The reality is that the WTA is currently in total meltdown mode, and the two biggest stars on the planet just handed them their walking papers. On April 6, 2026, Coco Gauff sent a shockwave through the tennis world with a single post that proved the system is fundamentally broken. After taking a month-long break to protect her sanity, Gauff logged back onto X only to be hit with an immediate wave of poison that forced her right back out. This wasn't just a random case of internet trolling or a few mean comments from the basement. This was a calculated, systemic failure by an organization that claims to support women while leaving them to rot in a digital gladiator pit. The facts show that Gauff wasn't even back for an hour before the fans started tearing her apart over her latest photo shoot with Miu Miu. These people weren't talking about her forehand or her movement on the clay. They were attacking her hair, her appearance, and her very right to exist in the fashion space. The documents prove that Gauff had deleted her accounts weeks ago to focus on her game, and the results showed on the court. But the moment she tried to reconnect with her actual supporters, the WTA's lack of moderation and protection became a glaring neon sign of incompetence. Gauff's message was simple but devastating when she wrote that she was instantly reminded why she shouldn't be there. This is a 22-year-old Grand Slam champion who is being treated like a punching bag by the very community the WTA supposedly manages. But what's even more shocking is that she isn't alone in this fight anymore. Aryna Sabalenka, the current ruler of the rankings and Gauff's fiercest rival on the court, has stepped up to confirm the same horrific reality. Sabalenka is now openly admitting that she sees more negative than positive when she looks at anything related to herself online. The world number one isn't just annoyed by the comments, she is actively opting out because the environment has become too toxic to survive. Think about that for a second. The two women who are carrying the entire weight of the tour on their shoulders are both saying the same thing. They are being worn down by a mental load tax that their male counterparts simply do not have to pay in the same way. The industry is watching two elite competitors who should be celebrating their dominance being forced to hide from the public because the WTA leadership is asleep at the wheel. Sabalenka's comments after her Miami Open victory were a direct shot at the diva narrative that the media loves to push. She made it clear that it isn't about being fragile or thin-skinned. It's about being human in a system that treats you like a product. The reality is that these women are facing a level of fan coaching and amplified hate that is unprecedented in the history of the sport. Every time Gauff or Sabalenka steps onto a court, they aren't just playing against an opponent, they're playing against thousands of anonymous voices in their heads that the WTA refuses to silence. The documents and public records show that the tour has spent millions on marketing campaigns about strength and equality, but when it comes to actual safeguarding, the bank account is empty. The villain in this story isn't the person sending a mean tweet. The true villain is the executive board sitting in their air-conditioned offices while their primary assets are being mentally dismantled. The WTA's calculated lie is that they have support systems in place. But if those systems worked, why is Gauff running for the exit? Why is Sabalenka telling the world she can't look at her own name? The facts prove that the WTA is more interested in the clicks generated by controversy than the health of the women providing the content. This is a procedural failure of the highest order. The industry is starting to see the cracks in the foundation as these two stars realize they don't need the WTA's toxic ecosystem to be successful. Gauff and Sabalenka are elite, world-class athletes who are being pushed to the brink off-court by a system that refuses to evolve. This is no longer a rumor or a claim. It is a verified crisis that is threatening the very future of women's tennis. But what happened next was even more shocking as the focus shifted from the screen to the rulebook. When you dive deep into the WTA's official playbook, the evidence of neglect is staggering. There are hundreds of pages dedicated to how a player must dress, how they must speak to the media, and how many hours they must dedicate to corporate sponsors. But there's a pathetic lack of language regarding the protection of their digital identity or mental well-being against coordinated abuse. The reality is that the WTA treats player mental health like a PR checkbox rather than a biological necessity. They expect these women to be gladiators on the court and then act like robots when they walk off. The documents prove that the WTA has been warned multiple times by player agencies about the mental load tax. This is the invisible cost of being a woman in the public eye in 2026. For every hour Gauff spends on the practice court, she's forced to spend another hour managing the fallout of a viral hate campaign. The system is designed to extract every ounce of value from these players while offering them zero legal or digital armor. We saw this same pattern with Naomi Osaka years ago, and the WTA's response was to fine her and threaten her with disqualification. They haven't learned a single thing. The villainous leadership at the top is still using the same outdated playbook that prioritizes fan access over player safety. The industry is now witnessing a total unraveling of the WTA's credibility. Major sponsors are starting to look at the numbers and they don't like what they see. When Gauff and Sabalenka, the two most marketable faces in the game, start telling their millions of followers that the environment is poison, the brand value of the WTA plummets. This is why the executives are in panic mode. They know that if their stars stop engaging, the TV deals and the sponsorship checks will start to dry up. But instead of fixing the problem, they are doubling down on the lie that everything is fine. The reality is that the industry is distancing itself from the current leadership because they can see the writing on the wall. The evidence shows that the diva accusations aimed at Gauff and Sabalenka are nothing more than a calculated smear campaign. The villain tries to frame these women as ungrateful or sensitive to deflect from the fact that the tour is failing to provide a safe workplace. But the facts prove that these women are women who play through injuries, travel across the globe for 11 months a year, and handle the pressure of millions of dollars on the line. They aren't fragile, they are being exploited by a system that refuses to police the toxic environment it created. The rulebook clauses about bringing the game into disrepute are always used against the players, but never against the leadership that lets this poison spread. The WTA thought they could keep these two rivals at each other's throats to distract from the systemic issues. But Gauff and Sabalenka have flipped the script. They have realized that their true enemy isn't the person on the other side of the net. Their true enemy is the organization that profits from their pain while offering nothing in return. The alliance between these two megastars is the ultimate nightmare for the WTA board. It proves that the players are finally waking up to the reality of their situation. They are no longer willing to be the victims of a mental load tax that only goes into the pockets of the executives. The documents and the data show a direct correlation between the WTA's silence and the increase in online abuse. By refusing to take a hard stand against toxic fan behavior and coaching from strangers, the tour has essentially given a green light to the haters. They are sacrificing Gauff's peace of mind and Sabalenka's mental health to keep the engagement numbers high. It's a disgusting, predatory business model that is finally being exposed to the light of day. The reality is that the WTA is no longer a support system, it is a weight that is dragging these women down. As we look at the current state of the tour, the downfall isn't just a possibility, it is an active process. The industry is watching as the two most powerful players in the game choose to go dark rather than participate in the WTA's toxic circus. This isn't just a tweet or a comment, this is a total rejection of the status quo. The WTA executives thought they were in control, but they forgot one very important fact. Without the players, they have nothing. They have spent years ignoring the warnings and silencing the truth-tellers. Now they are facing a revolution they didn't see coming. The facts prove that the mental load tax has become too high to pay. Gauff and Sabalenka are elite, world-class athletes who deserve better than a procedural failure that leaves them vulnerable to the worst parts of the internet. The industry is shifting, the sponsors are watching, and the players are finally taking their power back. The WTA leadership can continue to hide behind their press releases and their fake smiles, but the documents and the evidence don't lie. The system is broken, the villains are exposed, and the heroes are walking away.